Hello ratbags, it's Jade. Welcome to a very special survival show today, taking a look at the big news that Last Oasis is coming to Xbox One very soon. Q1 2021. That's the announcement today. If you don't know what Last Oasis is, it's a PvP open world MMO experience where you can literally take on these huge massive walkers across all sorts of landscapes, try and survive, gathering resources, building up your walkers and pretty much taking on other players. It's coming in Xbox 2021, big trailer for it today, although it is teasing it. It's going to be crossplay, I'm going to have all the details. So I've got a press release this morning giving me the details and info about when we're going to be playing Last Oasis. Now Last Oasis has had moderate success on Steam, and we're going to go over some of that too, so you know exactly what type of game this might be and whether or not you should be looking forward to it. Whenever a brand new survival game comes to console, I'm usually intrigued because console still doesn't have the range that PC does. Now sometimes these games are a little bit garbo. Here's Looking at You, Memories of Mars. And then other times they're fantastic. Here's Looking at You, The Forest. Now this game is very different, but we're going to go through some of the details. So it will be launching on the Series XS and Xbox One. This won't be just next gen, it will be across all of the platforms. It's going to have full cross-play support with PC. And I don't believe I have to say this, but no, of course it won't be on PlayStation because PlayStation don't have an early access program. And then going forward, all updates on PC and Xbox will be the same. So they've just got their big wipe happening this Sunday. It's going to be the start of Season 2. And pretty much have been having a beta run for the last sort of month or so, adding brand new walkers, brand new items and new ways to play the game. And it's had a pretty much significant revamp. Some of my ratbags have been desperately telling me it's great, I should be hopping into it. And I kind of wanted to wait until it went onto the full test live servers. This is a heavy PvP focused game, although they have added a bunch of new stuff recently to do with trading, so it will be a bit more friendlier to people that don't necessarily want to get shanked. Not only will it be crossplay across the official servers, you will be able to play on private servers together, and that's PC and console players. Now there are some issues with this. At the moment, the server setup they have where you can rent them from the trader, one of my partners, it isn't very good. You only get one map, you can't really travel to other maps, and that's the whole point of Last Oasis. You should absolutely go and check out some of my content on Last Oasis I already did when it came out on PC. If you missed all of that stuff, then you get a good idea of what to expect. I'll leave the links for it in the comment section. But basically, Last Oasis is an ever-evolving network of maps. And these maps, servers, they'll always burn up over a certain period of time. Some might last maybe just a couple of days, others may last up to a month. The idea being that once they are ready to go, the countdown's gone, you will then have to move your base, move your walkers, your resources and your clan to another one that's nearby. And to do so, you're going to need water. Water is the commodity that everyone's going to be fighting for. And so you're always on the move. Now recently they've added lots more base options so that you can build proper bases on top of certain walkers, and you can take them with you, whereas previously you had to really just abandon some of your bases and only take the vital stuff that you really wanted. So it's getting a wipe on Sunday for PC players, and this is the start of Season 2. I'm going to guess that when it does come to Xbox in Q1, it will be Season 3 the beginning. You're going to be able to play keyboard and mouse or a controller on Xbox, and that's a pretty big deal. I've been waiting for them to add controller support. I never really did get to grips with a mouse and keyboard. It's got directional combat, so normally it's about how you move your mouse, what directions you move your mouse. So I'm sure that's going to change a little bit for the Xbox, but maybe not. Maybe they're going to use the directional control sticks just in the same sort of way. Now, as I said, private servers haven't been great. You've only been able to have one map running at a time. And the whole point is that you can go from easier maps to harder maps. Well, they're changing that this Sunday as well. You will be able to rent out more servers or more maps and you'll be able to move over. So they've got their huge update coming this Sunday. It looks pretty good. And obviously between now and then, everyone's going to be going crazy. So that's the hype, that's the good stuff. Now let's talk about what actually Last Oasis has more in detail. As you can see, I've got 162 hours in Last Oasis. That's pretty big for me. I really did enjoy it, and you can see some of the Ratbag clan have been playing it. Here are some of the brand new walkers they've been adding recently. This one's called the Balag. Again, I am going to have to brush up a little bit on some of the details about these walkers and what they do, but you can see it's an absolute huge beast. It looks like you'll be a lot more protected while you're driving. I'm guessing it's going to be some sort of, you can make a whole base out of it. Is that the point of it? So this is the one that opens up and makes your base more stable. You can build whole bases on it and then pack them away and take them away with you. Now you've always been able to do that with certain structures. You could do that with wooden structures, but generally you could only maybe build certain small things, and the wooden structures themselves, they weren't very strong. You could get into them pretty easily. So it's a big departure having something that you can actually use and it's made out of stone. These bases are going to be much harder to break into. This is going to help a lot with the problem of just too much PvP and not enough focus on players feeling a bit safer and having enjoyment of the game without worrying about getting raided constantly. Another part of that making it more friendly to PvE players is the commerce update. This in effect opens up whole new trading options and things that you can do, so you're not just a bit bored and running around. And that was probably one of the biggest complaints about last OASIS. It had server issues in the first week it launched, and it did mean that a lot of people gave it a negative review. But after that first week or so, they were doing pretty decent. Over time though, because they maybe couldn't get some of the changes in that they wanted as quickly, and it did take a bit more longer to get the servers completely stable, they did lose quite a lot of their player base. So opening up to Xbox players is a pretty good idea. I think this is going to really take off once it hits Xbox, and I can see there being a huge amount of interest between PC and Xbox players. Xbox and console fans, the only real PvP games like this you've got at the moment is of course games like Ark, maybe Conan Exiles of course, and that is it. That is your big choices in having MMO style, survival style, unless you count DayZ. But they've added lots of wandering merchants. They've got brand new trading stations that will be able to go and give lots of your stuff to and get more new resources. There's new quests, there's new auctions, there's new tax formations in it. The whole idea is that last OASIS originally was meant to be that bigger clans would take care of their tile or their map. The more that you protect your tile, i.e. stop other players from killing players on your tile or taking your resources, then the more that you would gain in terms of tax. A bit like mega tribes on Ark, where you would usually band together on one server to try and stop a big huge mega tribe from wiping you all out. It never really took off though. We tried it quite a bit, I ain't gonna lie, I got pretty toxic with it. So if I do jump back into this, I'm probably gonna just play on my own or very small crew. I'm not gonna be looking to go big like we did, where we had like over 40 members at one point. Now part of the problems as well was the mega clan issue. They didn't have any caps for clans, and they've introduced a big one now, 50. They always wanted to avoid this. They always felt like Last OASIS would be this huge big game where you would have these mega tribes taking up massive amounts of the servers, and then within them you'd have protection for them. But what really happened was a lot of the smaller tribes weren't pretty much getting any protection, and the mega tribes weren't really bothering doing their job in protecting their servers. They would just go and raid another server when they felt like it. So having harder clan caps, meaning that you're going to have to actually have alliances and stuff like that a bit better, I think that's the right way to go. Like I said, I've got to dive into this a bit. It's been a good few months since I played it, but for sure, I definitely want to get into it and we're going to try it out. I may even give it a go on Sunday when it launches with its Season 2, and we'll see how it goes. You can see it went from a mixed score of 66%, and that went even lower because of them issues with the servers. But over time, they've done the right thing. They're now on 74%. That's a pretty good score for an early access survival game, believe it or not. Generally, lots of these games won't start seeing positive reviews until they're actually close to releasing. That's because some people, despite it being early access, really can't get to grips with stuff that's going to go wrong. Wipes, broken glitchy bugs. It's just the order of the day in these types of games. At its peak it had 33,000 players, but them server issues really took a knock on it, and it wasn't long before they lost half their player base, and until it went absolutely abysmally with only 300 people playing it. Since the announcement of betas, and since they've been updating the game more frequently on a weekly basis with brand new content, you can see the numbers have perked up again, and it was relatively stable before dipping once more, where maybe people were getting the idea that there would be some sort of wipe incoming. You guys know I don't try and sugarcoat it too much. I'll give you the real facts about it. This game is pretty dead at the moment, and it has been for the last few months. 1,000 players against a server network that can support thousands isn't a good look. But to compare it to another game that had its issues and problems, and I still think it's pretty trash, is Atlas. Obviously that launched massively in a bad way. It just wasn't the game that the trailers and everyone had kind of believed to be there, and it was janky, buggy, and just quite frankly boring. Last OASIS is a little bit more singular. It hasn't got as many worlds to go around and explore, but it does do a better job of travelling between their maps, As kind of like Atlas did have with its islands, travelling in between them, it took forever. And it was pretty boring doing so. Whereas in Last Oasis, although you do have to do a bit of travelling, it's actually a bit more fun and it's a bit more strategic where you have to organise so that you don't get raided or attacked. So yeah, I think this is going to be really good for Last Oasis. As I said, they've been doing all the right things. They've just maybe not been as, I guess, eye-catching on Twitter. They don't maybe have the ego or the brashness of some other games like Rust. And because it lacked a bit of PvE content, there wasn't much for players other than who just wanted to go shanking to do. I've always wanted this game to succeed. I covered it ages before it released, and I'm definitely excited about getting my hands on a controller and playing it on an Xbox. That is going to be my thing. At the moment it's £23.79. I can't imagine it being much more expensive. I reckon it probably might go up though to £29.99 in early access on Xbox, purely because obviously of the nature of consoles usually having a £5 or so added on top. But yeah, this is good stuff. As we get a bit closer, I am going to start rolling out some more videos. I'll show you guys some of the content that's already on there as part of Season 2 on Steam. I'll give you guys the heads up of what to expect about map sizes and pretty much get you guys prepared with tutorials and guides. As long as Rust doesn't launch at the same time, I'm going to be all over Last Oasis when it hits Xbox. So it's a couple months away yet, January, February or March, that's when you can expect it. But I'm going to go out on a limb, I reckon it'll be out at some point in February. So ratbags, I will see you guys very, very soon for more Last Oasis stuff. And if there's any questions you need to know, leave them in the comment section down below. Until next time, I will see you lot later.